what's been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city light. Hey, darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far.
I'm having a klobosnik.
Hi friends, good morning. It's Thursday morning. We had a really bad night last night. Maddie had her sleep deprived EKG and EEG, and then we came home and she refused to nap. She rode her bike and she ran around and played in the mud, and then she finally came in, took a shower, ate, and then she finally laid down with me and went to sleep for a little bit. And then during the night she had 6 seizures, and she slept about 2 hours from 5:30 to almost 7:30. Woke up being sassy. We went ahead, went to the doctor, got her checked out. They said that she looks okay physically, and that if she continues to have seizures, take her back up to Integris. But I'm waiting for her doctor at Integris to call me back, because he said she didn't need to come in unless they were over 5 minutes or she loses consciousness or gets an injury. But she none of them were over about 2 minutes. It was just a very long night, and we're very tired. We stayed up all night the night before anyway for her sleep deprived EEG, and then we only slept probably about 3 hours total between the hour after eating dinner before they started and the 2 hours this morning. So we're gonna go home and we are gonna curl up in my bed and we are gonna watch movies and nap.
I'm gonna take a sip of water.
Okay, and we're gonna have a nice peaceful day. But Maddie was hungry and we're over here in Prague, and so we went ahead and came to the donut shop, and I got
these donuts are really good.
Yeah, and I got her a donut, and they actually gave her 2 and gave her a free donut. So she's got donuts and orange juice, and I have a sausage roll and orange juice, and we're gonna eat real quick and then we're gonna get home. Yeah, we're gonna eat real quick and then we're gonna get home. We're exhausted right now, and I don't think I can do much other than just go home and nap right now. Hey guys, I'm out here in my greenhouse after us having so much rain and stuff the other day. I just wanted to walk around and check out my plants, see how everything's going. So if you've been watching for a while, you know that Maddie started having seizures a while back. So she had okay, so I'm sorry. This is very hard to talk about. But at the same time, I need to talk about it. So I've had several people say, oh, her seizures were triggered by like stress because of your broken back and all your surgeries and this and that, you know, if she's not under stress, she'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But unfortunately, that is just not the case. So the night of my ablation is when we realized she was having seizures, but they had actually started months before, from what we know now. Maddie she slept with me till she was 6 years old. She's a very attached person. When she sleeps, she wants to wrap her arms around you and make sure that you don't move for anything. And she's a very, very loving and attached child. And so because of that, she slept with me till she was 6. She never slept in a crib. She never slept in her toddler bed, even though I did try. But honestly, she slept with me till she was 6. If I would tell her she couldn't sleep with me and she had to sleep in her toddler bed, she would go as soon as the lights went out and jump in bed with CJ or Mika or whoever would let her sleep with them. And then around 2 or 3 in the morning when James would leave for work, she would hop in bed with me and she'd say, Dad's gone, we can cuddle now, because she knew I was a pushover, and I would say sure and Dad would say no. So up until she was at least 6, we know this wasn't an issue, because I would have known if she was seizing in bed with me. And we've never had any issues with her seizing while running around playing in the yard or anything like that before. She's now 7 and a half, and we're not exactly positive when they started, but for well over 6 months before my ablation, she had been saying things like, she would come in all beat up from riding her bike, and you know, we live more than a quarter of a mile off the road. We're back here and it's all fenced in. We close our gates when we're not out walking. You know, it's like our private paradise here. And because of that, the kids can just run freely and run all over the farm and ride their bikes and explore and do what they want to do, and they get to be kids. So she would come out to ride her bike, and sometimes she would come in all tattered and bruised and banged up and skinned up, and she'd say, I wrecked my bike. And I'll say, well, how did it happen? You know, like, did you hit something? What happened? And she'd say, oh, I had a brain glitch. And I'm like, what? She's like, I don't know. I was riding my bike and then I was on the ground. And I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean you weren't paying attention? She's like, I don't know. It's just a glitch. And I thought, well, she must just be like not paying attention when she's riding her bike and she's wrecking it. And then there've been several times where she has wet the bed, and she has never been a bedwetter. And I discussed it with her doctor, and she said that, you know, some kids, they just, you know, go through phases where bedwetting is an issue. And one of my other kids did wet the bed till they were 9, but they also do have neurological issues. So she kind of started wetting the bed here and there, but it wasn't like it was a daily thing. It was just like maybe every couple weeks, all of a sudden one morning she'd be like, Mom, I need you to wash my sheets. And, you know, so I'd have to take off her sheet protector and her sheets and everything, and I'd wash them all. And I'd say, why didn't you get up and use the potty, baby? And she'd say, I had a brain glitch. I couldn't help it. And I'm like, Maddie, you can't just say you have a brain glitch every time something goes wrong. What's going on? And she'd say, I don't know. My brain glitched, and then I woke up and my whole bed's wet. And I'm like, you know, I don't understand what you're talking about. And I would ask her, like, you know, does your head hurt? Is that a glitch? Or, like, is it when you're sleeping too hard? Like, you know, I don't understand. And she's like, I don't either. It's just a glitch. And so, we didn't really understand what was going on with her until the night I had my first ablation. The night before, sorry, Penny's over there fighting with a rooster. He's trying to attack her. And she's chasing him with her shoe. Anyway, the night before my ablation, I got up in the morning to leave. My daughters told me she shook the bed all night long and would not let them sleep. And I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, I was talking to Penny. The girls kept saying she shook the bed all night. She wouldn't let us sleep. She was just being bad all night. And I was like, Maddie, what's going on? Like, you know, why were you keeping the girls up? And she said, it wasn't me. It was the glitch, bruh. And I was like, what's the glitch? And she goes, the thing that makes me pee the bed. Hi, baby. You want to come say hi? Come here. You want to say hi? I'm filming on YouTube.
Okay.
But you gotta swallow that spit. That's gross. Say hi.
Hi.
Say we're having a bad week, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's gonna get better though, huh?
There's cactuses.
Yeah. This is Bubba's cactus.
It's tiny.
Yeah, he's growing it from one of the big ones over there. All right, will you go play with the goat and let me finish talking?
The baby goat is cute.
Yeah, you want to go play with him? I would like it if you'd stay by Penny.
Okay.
Stay by somebody, Penny or Bubba. Okay, well, I'm sorry. She could be a grumpy butt. It happens. And I was like, did you pee the bed? And she was like, yeah, a lot. And I was like, well, why didn't you come tell me? And she said, I couldn't walk. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I said, were you sleeping too hard? Is that why you couldn't walk? Like you peed the bed when you're asleep? And she was like, I don't know. I had 3 glitches. And I don't know. It never came to mind that she was having seizures. Hold on a second. I was talking to Bubba. Nobody's been outside all day. And then when I come outside, everybody joins me. And there's some of this that is hard to talk about. And I've discussed it with the kids, but I don't want to keep discussing it in front of the kids. So anyways, I was going in for my ablation. Mika said, don't worry about it. I'll wash her bedding and put it back on her bed. So then Mika texted me right before I shut my phone off and went back for my surgery. And she said, Mom, it was so bad that her bedding was dripping down the hallway. I had to mop the whole house. And I said, okay. I said, I'll call her doctor again. We'd already been to the doctor several times about it, but we just could not figure out what was going on. Like, is she sleeping too hard? Is she spacing out? Like, what is going on with her? And I mean, we never put it all together that she was having seizures until the night of my ablation. That night, when I got home, she pretty much tackled me and she was like, Mama, you're home. I thought you were going to die. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, I don't know. I didn't know if you were going to live. And I was like, of course I'm going to live. I have to take care of you guys. I'll always be here. And, I went and slept for a while. She laid in bed with me and watched Little Mermaid and stuff. I actually think I filmed that day, so there might be a video of that. And then that night I got up after dinner and I decided to watch movies with the kids. And I kind of thought, I can sleep on and off and the kids, can see that I'm okay and they can watch movies and we'll just have some quiet time, some downtime where everybody's not running all over the place. And so we were watching movies and Maddie was laying in my lap and she had one leg between my legs and she had her arms wrapped around my arm. And out of nowhere, she said, Mama, the glitch. And she reached up and she grabbed me right here. And she like pinched my skin and it was ridiculously painful. And that's when I realized she was seizing because it was such a tight grasp that I realized that it wasn't something she had control of. And I looked down at her face and her eyes were rolled back and she was convulsing on the right side of her body and then it went into the left side. And it was a very intense seizure. And from there, I think she ended up having 8 over the weekend, 12 or 13 by the time I got her into neurology. I actually got very lucky that CJ had a neurology appointment that Wednesday and I'd had my procedure on Friday. So they went ahead and gave Maddie CJ's appointment and they pushed CJ's appointment because his was just a med check and he's doing well on his meds. So they pushed his, gave her that appointment. I brought her in. I told him, I think she's having left brain seizures, that her right arm is shooting up and the right side starts convulsing and then it goes through her whole body. And, I'm very concerned about it. And, we talked about it, and he ended up saying, or I'm fairly confident saying that she has epilepsy. So fast forward, he scheduled an EKG, EEG for her and put her on Keppra twice a day. And we religiously take it. I have alarms on my phone, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. She takes her Keppra. We've never missed a dose. If we're going to be leaving home, I pull it up in the syringe. I bring the syringe with me, and I give it to her at exactly 9, no matter where we are. She, the second night when she was tapering on at half a dose, had a seizure. And there was one day where all day long her right arm was like this, which it always starts with her right arm. And she could not unclench her hand, she couldn't unclench her arm, and she said the muscles hurt. And I kept thinking she was going to have a seizure, but she never did. And then sometime around dinner time, she had fallen asleep on the couch. She woke up and it was fine. But I mean, we have done wonderfully on the meds, especially for being like a first shot. This is the med we're going to try. It's just gone well. And so yesterday she did her sleep deprived EKG, EEG, and we had to go all night, no sleep, get up. We got up and it was like torrential rain and flooding, and she was anxious and she wanted to get it done and she wanted to go to sleep. So we left early between the flooding and just she wanted to get there, and she was nervous. And so we got ready, we left, we went, we got there an hour early. They were like, oh, we're running like an hour behind right now because of the flooding and we're short staffed and this and that. And they were like, can you take her to the cafeteria or something to keep her busy so she don't fall asleep in the waiting room? So we went to the cafeteria. She had a yogurt and Doritos. And honestly, I didn't really care what she ate. I just wanted to keep her up and happy and awake. And so she had that. She brought her water with her. It was like ice water with a Gatorade packet in it. So we had those. And then we went upstairs again and we waited. And they took her back. And it took way longer than we thought it was going to take. The tech that we had kept saying, in 20-something years in my job, she's probably the second most wiggly child I've ever had to take care of. She was like, I've only ever had one child, one boy, who wiggled more than this girl. And I kept saying, I'm so sorry. And she was like, don't be. Everybody's different. She's just a wiggly person. But every time she would wiggle, it would mess up the readings, and they would have to start over because they needed clear readings. But she would try so hard to be still, and she'd be like, honey, you can't rub your feet together like a cricket, you have to hold still. So then she'd start tapping her fingers on her chest or on her stomach or something. She'd be like, no, we can't do that. And then she'd sit there and she'd go, she'd be like, you can't do that. And I have always been pretty certain Maddie has ADHD. She is very hyperactive. She does not hold focus long. When we do her schoolwork, we do it in little stints all day long. Like, we'll do her Bible and maybe her handwriting, and then I'll let her run and play, and then I'll call her back and we'll do her math, and we'll do her lit, and then I'll let her go play, and I'll bring her back, we'll do her science, and maybe we'll read a story, and then I'll let her go play, and then I'll make her sit with the rest of the kids for group work. Because she just doesn't, and she's only 7, and I don't expect her to hold the focus of sitting there at the table all day. But she definitely, in comparison to my other 4 kids, is a completely different child. Oh, I think somebody is here with dinner for us. So I'm gonna have to continue this later. Okay, I am back. My friend brought us dinner. She brought us pizza and stuff, so we visited with her a while. She also brought Maddie a little present from her daughter. Her daughter and Maddie are best friends, and so we ate dinner and stuff. Now I'm back outside. I don't know. But where I was at earlier in things, I was saying, you know, we've always been fairly positive that Maddie had ADHD. I mean, but she's also 7, and, you know, 7-year-olds aren't meant to hold still all day. But all of this to say, I'm sorry, I'm having a day right now, and I'm going on very little sleep, but, you know, we've always known that she's just kind of marched to her own beat and been a much different child than the rest of my kids. The rest of my kids have always been very different from what she is, but I've always kind of embraced it because she is very, very much like me, in the sense of always go, 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 in the sense that she doesn't need sleep, in the sense that she's just kind of like, you know, go with it. Whatever life throws at you, you just go with it. I'm sorry, Penny is feeding animals. So if you hear that, that's her feeding the cow and donkey and stuff. But it's, you know, we've always known that she's her own child. Like, we've known that. But when all of this started happening, it was just such a shock, because she's never even taken Tylenol. She's never sick. She's never had a problem. She's always been my happy-go-lucky kid. And Penny's over there dancing with her headphones on and didn't know I was watching her. And she was all dancing around, and she turned around and she looked at me and goes, "Ah!" and walked off. Anyways, it's been very hard to see in the last 8 months or so more and more things happening with her. Once she started the medication, like I said, things had gotten better. They ordered the sleep-deprived EEG, EKG, and we went in for that and everything. And then she could not hold still. It took a long time to get that done. And finally the tech wrapped her in a warm blanket, gave her a teddy bear to hug, and laid her on her side. And she just fell asleep before she even had the lights out. And they were able to get really good, clear imaging. And, you know, as far as the results, because before that, it was not going well. But, we came home, we ate dinner, James made nachos, and Maddie and I went to sleep on the couch, and within an hour she was having a seizure. And I mean, I kind of thought, you know, that there was a possibility that, you know, she was going to end up having a seizure because she was just so exerted. I had a feeling. But then she kept having seizures, and she ended up having 6. At 5:30 in the morning, she finally stopped and fell asleep for about 2 hours. And then I got her up with CJ and Mika. I took them to class, and I took her to her primary care doctor, and I said, "Hey, can Andy see her? If not, then I'll take her through the ER, because it's all together, the hospital, the ER, and the doctors here. It's a very small town place." And so they were like, "Oh no, because of the flooding, almost everybody she sees today's canceled, so we'll take her." And I said, "Okay." So they took her back. You know, I told them about what was going on, how, you know, her doctor had said if she has seizures, we don't need to bring her in unless they're over 5 minutes or she's unconscious. And, you know, but at the same time, she had 6, and I figured they were because she was overexerted, but it's still a lot for her body, and I really just wanted to make sure she was okay. And, she was like, you know, she looks okay. She looks exhausted, but she looks okay. She was like, "But do not stop trying to get a hold of neurology." And I said, "Well, I've emailed them. I left them a voicemail. You know, I'm just waiting, and I just wanted to make sure she's okay." Hi, baby. Speak up, my little baby. Here she comes. Do you want to say hi to YouTube again? What you eating, a breadstick?
You mean that cheese pizza stick? Or
Yeah, it's a garlic.
I put some
ranch.
ranch on it.
Mm-hmm. That was a big bite. How we feeling? Okay, good. Hey, will you let Mika know that? Oh no, that kitty is on my lettuce smashing it. Will you let Mika know that I am filming on YouTube? So if she doesn't want YouTube to hear her singing, she should probably sing quieter.
Okay.
Thank you, baby. Anyway, she said, do not stop trying to reach them. Like, if you don't hear from them, call them again and again. And I said, okay. And then by the time we got home from getting Maddie her donuts and my sausage roll thing, the nurse had called me and asked me several questions about whether or not she'd missed any medication, whether she'd had any injuries or sickness or anything going on before testing that maybe, threw her off on top of the exhaustion and the testing and all the lights and stuff they did. And I was like, no, everything's been great. Like, we have alarms set for her medicine. There's a cat trying to get in front of the camera. Okay, sorry. But as I was trying to say, nothing had changed. There had been any changes. And yet she still had 6 seizures. And, okay, he had said, okay, baby. He had said, I expected 1 or 2 seizures maybe, but we definitely didn't expect 6 seizures. He said,
Seizure girl.
Yep, that's you, seizure girl. He said, I got in contact with them, and I said, I want her results now. He said, I looked at him. He was like, she has some major brain abnormalities on the left side of her brain. Do we know where the left is? Yep. And I need to see you guys tomorrow. And hey, calm down. Remember, understimulate, not over. And so we're gonna go in tomorrow and we're gonna talk to him. Look at those dirty feet, girl.
Hey.
It just rained all that. Snakes are out. You should be wearing shoes.
Excuse me?
I don't need any more stress than I'm under, girl. Snakes are stressful. Okay?
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too.
All right. Can I? Okay. Anyways, let me finish talking.
Okay, I won't lick your nose.
No, please don't lick my nose. But will you let me finish talking real quick, and then I'll finish,
Okay.
and we'll go get you a shower.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, he told me that she had several brain abnormalities, and they were very severe, and that he needed to talk to me in person. He said, I need you to be here at 1:30 tomorrow with her. He said, we need to talk about what this means for her. We need to talk about stroke risk. We need to talk about more testing and what this all means for her. He was like, so I'm going to need you guys to come in tomorrow. I hate to, put this on you last minute, but I need to see her. And I was like, okay. So tomorrow we go back to Integris, and hopefully we'll have some form of a clear path and course of action for her. Because right now everything is so up in the air and scary that I don't know which way is up right now. It's just so overwhelming. At her first appointment, I told him, I don't understand how my child, who's never sick, she's always healthy, she's always happy, she's never had issues before, how she went from my sweet little angel baby, the one that I could always count on having a smile on her face and not a single problem in her world, to just falling apart on me. You know, I call her my sweet little angel baby because I've always felt like God knew I needed like something to make me smile, because I am always under, no matter, like, I know I don't always mention it or I don't show it or say it, but I'm always under immense stress. CJ has absent seizures, syncope, Tourette syndrome, and yes, baby.
I want to show you a cool trick.
Okay, can you give me just a minute?
Okay.
And severe asthma. Mika has rheumatoid arthritis, Ehlers-Danlos, brittle bone disease, and asthma. Hey, baby. Penny has always had food allergies that she's finally clear of, and
I
she's
have no allergies.
yeah. And but for her, most of her life, it has been a very strict,
Wee.
you know, a pretty strict situation with her and food, and very stressful. At one point, I was working Maddie. At one point, I was working 2 jobs, and she was in daycare, and they would not feed her if I didn't prep her food and bring her food for meals and snacks. They would not feed her at the daycare.
Isn't that rude?
Because they were scared they would harm her with all her food allergies. So on top of working 2 jobs, I was having to prep food for her and everything. And that's part of why I became a stay-at-home mom, was because it was just so exhausting. With
Yeah, you're a stay-home mom now.
yeah,
With 5 kids.
yeah, with you.
Wait, but 5. This thumb doesn't count still.
Oh, your
5.
thumbs don't count as fingers.
Yes, thumbs don't count.
But
So, 5.
yeah.
Thumbs don't count as fingers.
Okay. Well, anyway,
I'm full of energy today.
well, I'm glad, because you have not slept much.
Without even sleeping, I have energy, Mom.
I know, I don't know how. Hey, why don't you go play with Penny for a minute and let me finish talking, and then I
She's
promise.
doing stuff fun.
No, she's playing with George's ball. Man, it's just been a lot. You know, I told him I don't understand. Like, she's always been like the one that, you know, is always just healthy. And, you know, Penny, like I said, Penny with her allergies. Bubba also has rheumatoid arthritis and asthma. Maddie never even gets sick. Like, I mean, when she was born, she did have like issues with jaundice, and she was Combs positive, but nothing that, you know. Okay, baby. But you know, after that, she got the flu when she was 3 months old, and strep at the same time when we all had the flu. She got the flu and strep, but never ever has she ever been a kid who gets sick. That she's never even a kid who's unhappy. And I was like, you know,
I'm never unhappy.
No. And I was like, she's my sweet little angel baby. I don't understand this. And he said, she's still your sweet little angel baby. She's just your sweet little angel baby with epilepsy. He was like, and that's okay. He right?
Yeah.
Yep. He said, epilepsy won't define you. You're still Maddie.
Maddie Elizabeth Tubbs. My real name's Madeline. Madeline.
Oh, girl.
I like the name Madeline.
She has refused sleep all day. I have no idea how she... Whoa, 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 whoa. Get off there. That chair moved when you sat on that arm. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come right here.
On the chair.
But, I mean,
Hello.
Hopefully tomorrow we'll know answers, and we'll know a course of action for her, and we'll know which way we're going with things, right? Right? And that's really all we know right now. I see you. You're being weird. But we're just, I don't know. We're going to figure it out as we go. Right, baby? But hopefully tomorrow we'll know things, and we'll...
Yes. And I miss my friend Brienne.
I know, you're going to see her next week.
Yay.
But my
I
little...
can't wait, because it's been too long.
Okay, quit kicking the table, though. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll have, you know, we'll have things figured out, and she'll feel better and be better and do better, and I'll be a better mom, and I'll know how to take care of her better.
You?
I hope so.
Because I have seizures, and so do you sometimes.
I do have seizures sometimes, but I quit having them as much as I used to.
My nail polish is coming off.
Yeah, but my parents didn't take me to the doctor for my seizures. I had to be a grown-up and take myself to the doctor to find out what was going on with my seizures.
Poor little mama.
That's okay. But we're not going to let that happen with you, huh?
Yep.
No, we're going to find answers for Maddie tomorrow. Right?
Yep.
And tonight we're going to sleep. I think she's scared to sleep. Is that what it is?
Yes, because I have seizures in my sleep.
Yeah.
All the time. Duh, bruh.
Duh,
And I have one on the top bunk
Yeah.
before we had to move.
Yeah.
Because I have seizures.
Yeah, you can't be on the top bunk anymore. I'm gonna get you a helmet for your bike too.
Oh, by the way.
I'm a little scared of you riding your bike right now.
By the way.
Yes, baby.
How about you told him the story of how about you found how I had the seizures?
I just did.
I
told him.
it the glitch.
Why don't you tell them?
No, how I did it in your lap.
Yeah.
And
Why don't you tell them? You
No,
tell.
you.
No, you tell them about what happened to you.
I don't really remember the full story.
Well, I know you won't remember it all because it was a seizure, but why don't you tell
I
them?
forget everything after a seizure.
Why don't you tell them what you remember?
Okay, I remember saying, "Look left."
You didn't say it like that. I'm being serious.
Okay.
Why don't you tell them what do you remember happening?
Me having my arm like this in your lap and me shaking.
Yeah. And then what?
That's all.
Okay, quit kicking that because
I
you're
can
going to knock my
remember.
phone down. And it's scary, isn't it?
Mhm.
And you know before you have them?
Yeah, kind of. My head hurts a little.
Yeah. Do they scare you?
Yes.
I love you.
Love you too.
Anyways, I guess, do you want to add anything else about your seizures that you want to share with maybe other kids that might be having seizures?
You know.
What do you think is important to know about seizures?
Like when they're having them, how long it is.
Time it?
Mhm.
Yeah, we have to time it because what happens if it's 5 minutes?
Rush them to the hospital.
Yep, and for you have to take Klonopin in your mouth if it's over 5 minutes because it's dangerous, huh?
Yeah.
Don't
Oh,
kick
there's
that.
an ant on
I
the
know it's
screen.
fine. Don't kick this though. Don't kick the table. Okay, it's very dangerous to have a 5-minute seizure. Do you know what those are called? Grand mal.
What?
That's what they're called.
It doesn't sound funny.
No, it doesn't. It's not supposed to be funny.
Inning?
Mm-mm.
It
And what
sounds-
else is important about seizures? Making sure the person is safe and won't get hurt, right?
That's why you put a blanket on the ground in case I roll off.
I do put a blanket on the ground by the couch when you lay on the couch because I don't want you to fall on a wood floor if something happens.
Yeah, in case I have a seizure.
Yeah, because I can't hold you with my broken back. So yeah, it's not funny though, is it? It's scary, and you laugh because you're scared. I know it's okay. And it's also important you don't hold down the person who's having a seizure because it could break their bones. Huh?
Mhm.
And you also make sure that the person who's having their seizure doesn't choke on spit or vomit. So you don't want them laying on their back.
To put them on their side.
Yeah.
Hello, Rooster.
And what else? After a seizure, you produce a lot of saliva and you play with your spit way too much, don't you? Yeah, and he said that was pretty normal. I've never had that issue after seizures. And sometimes when you have seizures, sometimes you have to wear a pull-up. Everybody, huh? Say sometimes, don't do that. Don't do that. That's gross.
Okay.
Maddie.
That hit my arm.
All day. Anyways, right? Some people have to have pull-ups or diapers if they're a grown-up.
Yeah.
Like adult diapers. Grown-ups sometimes have to wear diapers if they have a
Do
seizure.
you
How
like
come?
Papa loose too?
Yeah. Well, that was for a different reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was because of his kidneys. But
Kidney stone, I think.
kidney failure.
Kidney failure.
But no, some people have to have diapers and pull-ups for seizures. How come? Do you know why? Because sometimes they have accidents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not their fault, is it? Nope, they don't control it, do they?
Mm-hmm.
You have no control of what's happening during a seizure, do you?
No.
So
It's
anything.
a pretty plant.
Yeah, it's squash. Hey. So if another kid, a kid who's watching this right now, has a seizure and they pee their pants, should they be embarrassed? Should they be upset? Or should they understand that sometimes bad things happen, but it's still okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's hard, huh? Is it hard being you?
Mm-hmm.
Does it scare you? Maddie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little when I have them.
Yeah. It scares me. Because I love you.
I love you too.
And I want
I
you.
love all the 5 kids.
I want you to be perfect and happy and
I love
healthy.
all the 5 kids. I'm the nicest.
You're the nicest of 5 kids. You're the happiest. Hey, don't kick the
Yeah.
table. She is the happiest. But that's because some of them have teenage hormones. And we're just surviving in a house with teenagers, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Awful.
And then there's Dad.
Okay,
Dad
anyways.
has hormones too.
Does Dad have hormones? Okay,
Yes.
anyways. All right, go see. Oh, did Penny already go in?
I think so.
Will you ask Bubba to make sure chickens are taken care of for the night? And then I'll start you a shower.
He is not.
Your pull-up's bugging you? It's because you were sitting on my leg, I'm sure. I know. If you make it through tonight with no accidents, we'll take it. We'll not wear one. Anyways, I guess I'll let you guys know how things go after we see neurology. But right now, I'm just so uncertain on everything. But I'm gonna get inside and give her a shower. I was going to last night, but we were just so exhausted we fell asleep on the couch, and then the seizures started, and there was no way I was putting her in a shower after she's kept repeatedly having seizures. And then this morning we went to the doctor, and she still just, she needed sleep, and I just spent all day trying to get her to sleep. And she did, I mean, we rinsed her off yesterday after she played in some mud when we first got home, but she needs a good shower, and I need to scrub her hair because she had all the stuff, the goop in her hair from all the testing. So I'm gonna go give her a shower, scrub her down, get her in some pajamas, and get her laid down on the couch within my reach so I can keep an eye on her. Well, I gotta give her medicine too, but I'll keep you guys posted. It's so cute. I just want to keep it forever.
Okay. What was I doing again?
How'd that go?
I can't help myself if you look like an angel. Can't help it if I wanna kiss you in the race. Nah, I feel this magic I've been feeling since I met you. I can't help it if there's no one else. I can't help myself. If you look like an angel, can't help it if I wanna kiss you in the race. But I feel this magic I've been feeling since I met you. Can't help it if there's no one else. I can't help myself.
That's beautiful.
Thank you guys so much for coming along with us today. Thank you guys so much for listening to me get a lot of things out of my system today. And I'll see you guys next time with another new video and hopefully some answers for Maddie. Bye.
Morning has broken.